On March 8th, 2024, my daughter-in-law looked at me across my own kitchen table and said, "Nobody invited you to sit down, Elaine. Why don't you go watch your shows and let the rest of us enjoy our evening?" I'm Elaine Dorothy Patterson. I'm 64 years old. I didn't flinch. I didn't raise my voice. I looked at my son, my firstborn, the boy I'd rocked through fevers and walked to kindergarten and put through college, and I waited for him to say something. He poured himself more wine and said, "Mom, she's got a point. We're kind of in the middle of something here." I set down my fork, pushed back my chair, and walked upstairs to the bedroom I'd been sleeping in for 2 years. The small one. The guest room. In my own 4-bedroom house. But I didn't go to bed. I opened my laptop and sent an email that would unravel everything. I'm getting ahead of myself. Let me take you back, because you need to understand how a woman who spent 38 years building a life can watch it get stolen from her one polite smile at a time. If you're listening from somewhere out there, drop your city in the comments. I want to know how far this story travels. And please, stay with me until the end, because this one has a twist even I didn't see coming. I was born in Memphis, Tennessee, in 1960. My mother, Vera Louise Patterson, raised 4 of us by herself after my daddy left when I was 9. Mama worked 2 jobs, nights at Baptist Memorial Hospital, and weekends cleaning houses in Germantown. She had this saying she repeated like scripture: "Elaine, a woman who owns her home owns her life. Don't you ever let nobody take that from you." I carried those words with me everywhere. I married Robert James Patterson in 1985. Bobby was an electrician, quiet and steady. The kind of man who said "I love you" by fixing things before you noticed they were broken. We saved for 6 years and bought our house in Charlotte, North Carolina, in 1991. A 4-bedroom colonial on Wendover Road in Myers Park, brick front, wraparound porch, magnolia tree in the yard that Bobby planted the day we moved in. Paid $203,000. We refinished every floor, painted every room, replaced the roof ourselves in 2004. Bobby up top, me handing shingles. That house was our masterpiece. Bobby died on November 3rd, 2021. Pancreatic cancer. 7 weeks from diagnosis to gone. He was 63. The last thing he said to me was, "Don't sell the house, Elaine. That's your castle. Guard it." I promised. I meant it. After Bobby passed, the house went quiet. Too quiet. I'd find myself talking to his recliner, asking it if it wanted coffee. My son Derek called every Sunday, but the calls got shorter, 5 minutes, then 3, then 2. He was busy, I told myself. He had his own life in Raleigh with his wife Vanessa and my granddaughter Amara, who was 11 then, and the brightest star in my sky. My daughter Cheryl lived in Atlanta with her husband. She called more often, stayed longer on the phone, sent flowers on my birthday. But Cheryl had her own family, her own world. I didn't want to be a burden to either of them, so I rattled around my 4-bedroom house alone, watering Bobby's magnolia, cooking meals for one, watching Jeopardy every night at 7, and answering questions out loud because silence was worse than talking to nobody. Then came the phone call. It was a Thursday evening in April 2022, about 5 months after Bobby died. I was hemming a dress for church when Derek's number lit up my phone. He never called on Thursdays. "Mom." His voice was wrong, flat and hollow, like someone had scooped out the insides. "Baby, what's happened?" We lost everything. Derek had been running a property management company for 8 years. Good business, steady clients, 15 rental properties under contract. Then his business partner, a man named Craig Holloway, disappeared, took $280,000 from the company accounts, and vanished. Left Derek holding the bag on mortgages, maintenance contracts, insurance payments, all of it. The bank's foreclosing on our house, Mom. Vanessa's car got repossessed yesterday. I can't even pay Amara's school lunch bill. My chest squeezed so tight I couldn't breathe for a second. "Come home," I said. No hesitation. "Bring Vanessa and Amara and come home." "Mom, are you sure? It could be a few months while I get back on my feet." "Boy, this is your home. You grew up here. Bring my grandbaby home. He broke down. My 40-year-old son, sobbing on the phone like he was 6 again with a skinned knee. Thank you, Mama. I swear we'll get back on our feet. 6 months tops. Don't you worry about timelines, just come home. They arrived on a Saturday. Derek pulled up in a rented U-Haul because his truck had been repossessed too. Vanessa stepped out of her sister's car looking like she hadn't slept in a month. Thin, dark circles, her usually perfect nails bitten down to nothing. She was a former beauty queen, Miss Durham 2008, and she carried herself like it even when life was crumbling. That pride would become a problem, but I didn't know that yet. Amara ran to me and threw her arms around my waist. Grandma, I missed you so much. Missed you more, baby girl. Derek shook my hand. Firm, too firm, like he was trying to prove something. Mom, I can't thank you enough. We'll pull our weight, I promise. Vanessa hung back by the car, arms crossed. Thank you, Mrs. Patterson. We appreciate your hospitality. Hospitality. Like I was a hotel. But I let it go. People process shame differently. Some get soft. Some get stiff. Vanessa got stiff. Call me Elaine, sweetheart. Or Mom. Your family. She nodded but didn't call me either. That first month was good. Derek helped with yard work, fixed the garbage disposal, cleaned the gutters. Vanessa kept the kitchen spotless after meals. Amara set the table every night without being asked, and we'd sit together for dinner like a real family. I cooked Bobby's favorites. Pot roast on Sundays, fried catfish on Fridays, peach cobbler whenever the mood struck. Derek was job hunting hard. 3 interviews the first week. 5 applications a day. He'd come home discouraged but determined. Something's going to break, Mom. I can feel it. I know it will, baby. Your daddy always said the right door opens when you stop kicking the wrong ones. He smiled at that. Bobby's smile, wide and warm. Month 3 is when Vanessa asked about money. I was tending Bobby's magnolia when she came outside. She'd done her hair and makeup. Full face, which I noticed because she usually only did that when she wanted something. Mom, she said. First time she'd called me that. Can we talk about something sensitive? Of course. Derek's getting calls from creditors. The ones from Craig's mess. They're saying we owe $42,000 in personal guarantees. Derek signed on some of the properties. If we don't settle, they'll garnish any wages he earns. My stomach nodded. How much do you need? $42,000. She said it fast, like ripping off a bandage. I know it's a lot, but Bobby left you comfortable, right? Derek mentioned the life insurance. Something about the way she said it. Bobby left you comfortable. Like my dead husband's money was a community resource. Bothered me. But I pushed the feeling aside. Let me look at my accounts. Bobby had left me $412,000 in savings, the house free and clear, and his pension. I'd been the office manager at Carolinas Medical Center for 22 years before retiring in 2019. Between my retirement account and Bobby's money, I was set. Not rich, but safe. I wrote a check for $42,000 to Derek Patterson on July 15th. 2022. I took a photo of it front and back. Bobby's voice. Paper trails, Elaine. Always. Derek hugged me so tight he lifted me off the ground. Mama, I'll pay you back every dollar. 2 years. I promise. Family doesn't keep score, I said, but I started keeping score anyway. In a green notebook I kept in my nightstand drawer. Bobby would have approved. Month 6, Christmas. I bought Amara a tablet for school, $380. Got Vanessa a cashmere sweater, $160. Got Derek a new set of work boots, $175. Total, $715. They got me a gift card to Cracker Barrel, $25. Thanks, I said. I love their biscuits. Nobody noticed the gap, or if they did, nobody cared. That night, I overheard Vanessa on the phone in the hallway, talking to her sister. Girl, it's fine. The house is big enough. And honestly, she stays out of our way mostly. It's basically free rent until Derek gets situated. Stays out of our way. Free rent. I was the homeowner, and they were describing me like a quiet roommate they tolerated. Month 12. 1 year in, and the erosion was so gradual I almost didn't notice it happening. Derek had found work. Sort of freelance property inspections, cash jobs, maybe $1,200 a month on a good month. Vanessa got a part-time gig at a boutique in South Park, 15 hours a week. Together, they made maybe $2,000 a month. I was still paying mortgage-free housing, electricity, water, gas, internet, groceries, everything. My green notebook showed another $14,000 in household expenses I'd covered beyond the $42,000 check. The shift was subtle at first. Vanessa rearranged my living room furniture without asking. It flows better this way, don't you think? My grandmother's china cabinet got moved to the basement because it's taking up too much space. Bobby's recliner, the one I still talk to sometimes, ended up in the garage. Vanessa, I'd like Bobby's chair back in the living room. Elaine, it's falling apart. It's an eyesore. We have company sometimes. Company. Their company. In my house. Derek said nothing. Month 18. That's when they took the master bedroom. I came home from Bible study one Wednesday evening and found my clothes in the guest room. Vanessa had moved everything while I was gone. My jewelry box, my reading glasses, my slippers, Bobby's photo from my nightstand. What happened to my room? Derek couldn't look at me. Mom, Vanessa and I need the bigger space. We're a couple. You understand. That's my bedroom. Mine and your father's. Dad's gone, Mom. He said it gently, but it cut. We need the closet space. The guest room is nice. We put fresh sheets on for you. Fresh sheets. On my own bed. In my own guest room. In my own house. I should have said no. I should have drawn the line right there. But Derek looked so tired. And Amara was watching from the hallway with those big eyes. And I thought, pick your battles, Elaine. This isn't worth the fight. Mama's voice in my head. A woman who owns her home, owns her life. I was losing ownership one room at a time. Month 24. 2 years. The $42,000 repayment date came and went without a word. Nobody mentioned it. I didn't either, but I wrote the date in my green notebook and circled it twice. By now, Vanessa had redecorated the entire first floor. My wallpaper stripped. My curtains replaced. Bobby's photos moved to a shelf in the hallway, then to a box in the closet. Then I couldn't find them at all until Amara showed me they were in the garage behind the Christmas decorations. Grandma, I saved them, she whispered. I didn't want Mama to throw them away. 13 years old, and she was protecting her grandfather's memory because the adults wouldn't. Thank you, baby. Grandma, why don't you say anything? This is your house. That question again. The one that burned. Sometimes you watch people show you who they are. You wait. And when you've seen enough, you do something about it. Have you seen enough? Smart girl. Too smart for her own good. Almost, baby. Almost. Derek asked for more money in March. $15,000 to start a new business venture. A home inspection company. This is the one, Mom. I've got 3 clients already lined up. I wrote the check. Took a photo. Green notebook updated. Running total. $42,000. Plus $15,000. Plus roughly $28,000 in living expenses over 2 years. $85,000. Then Vanessa needed $5,000 for a business wardrobe because she'd gotten an interview at a real estate firm. Then Derek needed $3,000 for licensing fees. Then Amara needed braces, $4,800, which I paid because of course I did. She's my grandbaby, $97,800. I had given my son and his wife nearly $100,000 in 2 years, while they lived in my house rent-free and slowly erased me from my own life. Month 30, February 2025. The incident with Bobby's magnolia. I came home from the grocery store and found a stump where the tree had been. Vanessa had hired a landscaper to remove it. I stood in the yard holding grocery bags, staring at the stump. And something inside me cracked. Not broke. Cracked. Like a dam that's holding. But you can see the fracture lines. Where is my tree? Vanessa was on the porch, drinking sweet tea. My sweet tea. From my pitcher. It was dropping leaves all over the cars. And the roots were cracking the driveway. Derek agreed it needed to go. That tree was planted by my husband the day we moved into this house, 33 years ago. I know, and I'm sorry, but it was a practical decision. We can plant something else. Something that doesn't shed as much. I put the groceries down on the porch steps, walked inside, went to my room, the small one, the guest room, and sat on the bed for 45 minutes without moving. I wasn't crying. I was calculating. That night, I called my best friend, Gloria Hayes. We'd been friends since nursing school, though I'd gone into hospital administration, and she'd become a nurse practitioner. Gloria had been telling me for a year to put my foot down. They cut down Bobby's tree. Silence. Then, Elaine, I'm going to say something, and I need you to hear it. Go ahead. You are being abused. Financial abuse, emotional abuse, elder abuse. I don't care that it's your son. I don't care that you love him. What they're doing to you is abuse. The word hit different when someone else said it. I know. Then what are you going to do about it? I'm working on it. Work faster. I started preparing, quietly. I made copies of every check, every bank statement, every receipt. I photographed the green notebook page by page. I consulted a lawyer, Patricia Owens, a sharp woman in her 50s with a reputation for elder advocacy cases. She reviewed everything and said, Mrs. Patterson, you have an exceptionally strong case whenever you're ready to move. Not yet, but soon. Don't wait too long. I also did something Bobby would have done. I ran a background check on Vanessa. Public records, nothing illegal. What I found made my blood run cold, but I tucked that information away. Not yet. Soon. March 8th, 2025. The night everything changed. Vanessa announced she was hosting a dinner party. Not asked. Announced. I'm having some of the girls from the real estate office over on Saturday. And Derek's inviting Marcus and Jerome. How many people? 10, maybe 12. Can you make that lemon chicken thing? And the potatoes? And maybe a cake? Vanessa, this is my house. You need to ask, not tell. She blinked. Genuinely surprised. Like a dog that got told no for the first time. I just figured, since you're always cooking anyway, ask. A beat. Then with a tight smile, Elaine, may we please have some people over for dinner on Saturday? Yes, but I'd like to sit and eat with everyone. Of course. Why wouldn't you? Saturday came. I spent 5 hours cooking. Lemon herb chicken, roasted potatoes, green beans with bacon, homemade rolls, a 3-layer coconut cake. My arthritis was screaming by 4 p.m., but the food was beautiful. Guests arrived at 6. I heard Vanessa greeting them, giving tours. This is the living room we just redid. And the kitchen? We're thinking about marble countertops next. We redid. We're thinking. Never. This is my mother-in-law's home. I brought the food out, set it on the dining room table, the one Bobby and I had bought at an estate sale in 1998, and refinished together, standing side by side in the garage, laughing, sawdust in our hair. 12 people found seats. Every chair was taken. I stood in the doorway holding the bread basket and realized there was no place for me. Not an oversight. Deliberate. 12 chairs, 12 guests, plus family, and the woman who owned the house and cooked the food was standing with nowhere to sit. Amara saw it first. Dad, Grandma doesn't have a chair. Derek glanced up. Oh. Mom? We'll get you one in a sec. A sec. Like I was a minor inconvenience. I went to the kitchen, brought back a chair from the breakfast nook, a wooden chair that didn't match, and carried it to the table. I set it down at the corner, squeezed in between 2 of Vanessa's co-workers who shifted reluctantly to make room. One of them, a blonde woman named Heather, looked at me with pity in her eyes. That pity almost broke me worse than anything else. We ate. I listened to Vanessa hold court, telling stories about her real estate listings, her plans for the house, her vision for the backyard. Derek laughed at all her jokes, refilled her wine, played the supportive husband. Nobody complimented the food directly to me. One of the men said, Vanessa, this chicken is incredible. Vanessa smiled. Thank you. It's a family recipe. A family recipe, my grandmother's recipe. From Memphis. Vanessa was from Durham. She'd never cooked a chicken in her life. I set down my fork. Something was rising in my chest. Hot and electric. And I was trying to push it back down when Amara spoke up. Actually, my grandma made all of this. She's been cooking since 4 in the afternoon. God bless that child. The table went quiet. Vanessa's smile froze. Derek looked at his plate. Well, Vanessa said with a little laugh. Of course Elaine helped. She's always so generous with her time. Helped. Generous with her time. Like I was a volunteer. Not the woman who'd spent 5 hours and $200 on this meal in my own house. I opened my mouth to respond when Vanessa turned to me and said the words that ended everything. Actually, Elaine, since you're up, could you grab another bottle of wine from the kitchen and maybe clear some of these plates? I stared at her. Then Derek. Mom, come on. Don't make it weird. Don't make it weird. In my house. At my table. Eating my food. And then Vanessa delivered the line that cracked the dam wide open. She leaned toward Heather, not quite whispering, loud enough for me to hear. Nobody invited you to sit down, Elaine. Why don't you go watch your shows and let the rest of us enjoy our evening? The table heard it. Everyone heard it. 12 pairs of eyes looked at me with varying degrees of shock, pity, and discomfort. Derek heard it. He picked up his wine glass and said, Mom, she's got a point. We're kind of in the middle of something here. I looked at my son, really looked at him, searched his face for the boy I'd raised. The boy who'd cried when his goldfish died. Who'd made me breakfast in bed on Mother's Day with burnt toast and orange juice. Who'd held my hand at Bobby's funeral and said, I'll always take care of you, Mama. That boy was gone. Or buried so deep under Vanessa's influence that he might as well have been. I stood up. Didn't say a word. Walked upstairs to my room, the guest room, the small one, sat down at my desk, opened my laptop, and sent an email to Patricia Owens, my lawyer. Patricia, I'm ready. Begin the process tomorrow morning, all of it. Then I called Gloria. It happened. What happened? She told me nobody invited me to sit down at my own dinner table. Derek backed her up. Silence. Then Gloria said something I'll never forget. Baby, I've been waiting 2 years for you to make this call. What do you need? I need you to remind me I'm not crazy. You're not crazy. You're a woman who's been too kind for too long. And tomorrow, you stop being kind. Tomorrow I stop being kind. I didn't sleep. Through the wall, I heard them cleaning up, laughing. The party continuing without me. At midnight, I heard the last guests leave. At 12:30, Vanessa's voice muffled but clear enough. See? She went upstairs like I said she would. You just have to be firm with her, Derek. She's old. She doesn't know what she needs. She's my mother, Vanessa. And this is our home. She can't keep acting like she runs things. It is her house. On paper. But we've been here 2 years. We've put money into this place. We have rights. Rights. That word again. I got out of bed, opened my closet, and pulled out the manila folder I'd been building for 3 months. Every document, every receipt, every photo, every piece of evidence. I added one final note in my green notebook. The 8th of March, 2025. Told to leave my own table by Vanessa. Derek agreed. I am done. Sunday morning. 7 a.m. I was dressed and waiting when the locksmith arrived. Gloria had found one who did emergency Sunday calls. How many doors? 4. Front, back, side garage, and the basement. That's $560 for Sunday emergency. That's fine. He started working. At 7:30, Vanessa came downstairs in her robe. Hair wrapped. What's going on? Who is this man? I'm having the locks changed. What? Why? Because this is my house, and I decide who has keys. Her face went through 5 expressions in 3 seconds. Confusion, disbelief, anger, calculation, and something I hadn't seen before. Fear. Derek! She screamed up the stairs. Derek, get down here. Derek appeared in sweatpants, bleary-eyed. Mom, what the hell? I want you packed and out by noon. The blood drained from his face. You can't be serious. I've never been more serious about anything in my life. You have until noon to pack what you can carry. I'll have the rest of your belongings boxed and available for pickup with a police escort next week. Vanessa's voice went high and sharp. You can't do this. We have tenant rights. We've lived here for 2 years. You have no lease. You've paid no rent. You've signed no agreement. Under North Carolina law, you're guests, and I'm revoking my invitation. How do you know? I looked it up. Months ago, when I realized I'd need to. The locksmith, God bless him, kept working. Didn't even look up. He'd seen this before. Derek stepped toward me, palms out, pleading. Mom, come on. Let's talk about this. Vanessa didn't mean what she said last night. Which part? The part where she told me nobody invited me to my own table? Or the part where she said, I don't know what I need because I'm old? His eyes widened. You heard that? Every word. Through the walls of the guest room you put me in after taking my bedroom. Mom? Derek, I gave you and your wife $97,800 in 2 years. I fed you. I housed you. I gave you my bedroom, my living room, my kitchen, my dignity. And last night, your wife told me to leave my own dinner table, and you agreed. So now I'm telling both of you to leave my house. And I'm not asking for agreement. Vanessa was pacing, phone in hand. I'm calling a lawyer. You can't just throw people out on the street. We'll sue you for everything. You're welcome to try. I pulled out my phone. If you're not gone by noon, I'm calling the Charlotte-Mecklenburg Police Department. I've already spoken with a lawyer. I've already documented everything. And Vanessa? She looked at me. I know about Greensboro. The color left her face so fast I thought she might faint. What about Greensboro? Derek asked, looking between us. Vanessa said nothing. Her mouth opened and closed like a fish. Ask your wife about Richard Kavanaugh, I said quietly. Her first husband, and his mother, Dorothy, who owned a house in Greensboro that Vanessa moved into in 2012 and didn't leave until Dorothy got a court order in 2015. Same pattern. Different victim. Derek stared at Vanessa. What is she talking about? It's not true. She's making it up. I have the court records, Vanessa. Public records. Case number 1. 5C. V. D. 4. 4. 7. 1. Guilford County. The silence was deafening. Amara stood at the top of the stairs in her pajamas, watching everything. My heart broke for her, but my spine held. Amara, baby, come here. She walked down slowly, eyes wide but not scared. That girl was stronger than all of us. This isn't about you. None of this is your fault. Do you understand? Yes, Grandma. I love you. That will never change, no matter what. I love you too. I looked at Derek. You have until noon. They were gone by 11:15. Vanessa loaded the car in furious silence, slamming the trunk so hard the taillights rattled. Derek carried bags with his head down, not looking at me, not looking at anyone. Amara hugged me at the door, long and tight, her face pressed against my shoulder. Can I call you? Anytime, baby. Day or night. It's going to be okay, Grandma. 13 years old and she was comforting me. I watched them drive away. Vanessa at the wheel, jaw set. Derek in the passenger seat, staring straight ahead. Amara in the back, looking through the rear window, one hand pressed against the glass. I waved until the car turned the corner. Then I closed my front door, locked it with my new key, and stood in my foyer, quiet. My house was quiet. I walked through every room. The living room Vanessa had redecorated. The kitchen where I'd cooked 1,000 meals nobody thanked me for. The master bedroom that smelled like Vanessa's perfume. The guest room I'd been exiled to. I went to the garage and found the box Amara had hidden. Bobby's photos. I carried them inside one by one and put them back. Bobby on the mantel. Bobby and me. At the beach. Bobby holding baby Derek in the hospital, grinning like he'd invented fatherhood. I kept my promise, I told his photo. Nobody's taking my castle. Then I went to the backyard and stood where the magnolia had been. Just a stump now, raw and ugly. I put my hand on it and cried. Not for long, just long enough to say goodbye. Monday morning, I sat in Patricia Owen's office and handed her the green notebook. She read it, page by page, eyebrows climbing higher with each entry. Mrs. Patterson, this documentation is extraordinary. My husband was an electrician. He believed in keeping records. Based on this, we can file for full recovery of the $97,800 plus damages. The fraud element with Vanessa's history makes this particularly strong. There's more. I told her about Derek's business, the home inspection company I'd funded with $15,000. Patricia's investigator found that the company had been making money for 8 months. Not a lot, but enough. $3,400 a month in revenue that Derek had never mentioned. Never offered to start paying me back. Never contributed a dime to household expenses. And Vanessa's real estate job? She'd closed 4 properties in the past 6 months. Commission income she'd never disclosed. Nearly $22,000 that I knew nothing about while I was buying their groceries and paying their electric bill. File everything, I said. I want my money back. The lawsuit came 3 weeks later. Not mine. Theirs. Sterling and Patterson versus Elaine Dorothy Patterson. They'd hired a lawyer, some young guy fresh out of Wake Forest law, probably the only one who'd take the case. They were claiming constructive ownership, unjust eviction, and emotional distress, seeking $200,000 in partial ownership of my home. Patricia laughed when she read it. Not unkindly. This is tissue paper. We'll shred it, we countersued. Everything documented. $97,800 in direct payments. $28,000 in living expenses. Fraud. Unjust enrichment. Vanessa's prior history in Greensboro. The trial was in October 2025. I dressed carefully. Navy dress, Bobby's pearl earrings, low heels. Patricia met me in the courthouse lobby. Ready? I've been ready for a long time. The courtroom was smaller than I expected. Derek sat with Vanessa and their lawyer at the plaintiff's table. He'd lost weight. Vanessa sat ramrod straight, beauty queen posture. But her eyes were darting. She was scared. Amara wasn't there. I'd insisted, and Derek had agreed. The only thing we'd agreed on in months. Their lawyer went first. Stumbled through arguments about constructive ownership and property improvements. The judge, an older black man named Judge Harold Washington, listened with a face that gave nothing away. What improvements, specifically? The judge asked. My clients performed regular maintenance, Your Honor. Lawn care, minor repairs. Do you have receipts? Contractor invoices? Permit records? Testimonial evidence, Your Honor. Next argument. Patricia stood. Calm, methodical, devastating. She connected her laptop to the courtroom screen and walked the judge through 2 years of financial abuse with surgical precision. Bank statements, canceled checks, front and back. The green notebook, photographed and entered as evidence. Derek's hidden business income. Vanessa's undisclosed commissions. Text messages where Derek called the house ours. An email where Vanessa told her sister, his mother's house is basically ours now. She's too old to fight. I watched Derek read that email on the screen. Watched his face change. Then Patricia dropped the bomb. Your Honor, we've obtained court records from Guilford County, North Carolina. Case 15C. VD 4471. In 2012, Vanessa Renee Mitchell, now Patterson, moved into the home of her then mother-in-law, Dorothy Kavanaugh, in Greensboro. She remained for 3 years, paying no rent, contributing nothing, until Mrs. Kavanaugh obtained a court-ordered eviction in 2015. The grounds cited financial manipulation and elder abuse. Vanessa stood up. That's not relevant. That was a completely different Purting Brait. Sit down, Mrs. Patterson. Judge Washington's voice was granite. Derek was staring at Vanessa like he'd never seen her before. Maybe he hadn't. Patricia continued. This is a documented pattern, Your Honor, Mrs. Vanessa Patterson identifies vulnerable homeowners through family connections, moves in under the pretense of temporary hardship, and systematically takes control of the household while draining financial resources. The judge reviewed documents for 4 full minutes. The courtroom was silent except for the wall clock ticking. I've seen sufficient evidence. Plaintiff's complaint is dismissed with prejudice. The claims lack merit and border on frivolous. Their lawyer tried to object. Judge Washington raised one finger, and the man sat down. As to the counter-complaint, judgment for the defendant, Mrs. Elaine Patterson, in the amount of $97,800 for documented financial losses. Additionally, I'm awarding $30,000 in punitive damages for fraud and unjust enrichment. Total judgment, $127,800. Vanessa gasped. Payment schedule, $800 per month. Joint and several liability. That's approximately 160 months. 13 years. Derek stood. Your Honor, we can't. Mr. Patterson, you received nearly $100,000 from your mother while hiding income and allowing your wife to systematically erase her from her own home. You have 13 years to reflect on that. Court costs of $6,200 are also awarded to the defendant. He looked at both of them over his glasses. Let me be direct. What happened in that house was elder abuse. Mrs. Patterson is fortunate she's pursuing this civilly rather than criminally. I suggest you both use the next decade to understand what family actually means. The gavel came down. In the hallway, Vanessa turned on Derek. This is your fault. If you'd handled your mother, handled my mother? Something shifted in Derek's face. Something I hadn't seen in 2 years. She gave us everything, Vanessa. Everything. And you treated her like the help. I treated her like you treated Dorothy Kavanaugh. Yeah. I heard. Vanessa's mouth snapped shut. Derek walked toward me slowly. Patricia stepped aside. Mom, Derek, I didn't know about Greensboro. I didn't know about any of it. I swear. I believe you didn't know about Greensboro. But the rest of it, the money, the way she treated you, I saw it. I saw all of it, and I said nothing. I chose her over you every time. Yes, you did. I'm sorry. I am so sorry, Mom. I know you are. Can you forgive me? I took a breath. Bobby's voice one more time. Forgiveness isn't a gift you give them, Elaine. It's a weight you put down for yourself. I forgive you, Derek. But forgiveness doesn't erase consequences. You'll make every payment. Every one. I will. And Derek? Amara is welcome in my home any time. Always. His eyes filled. Thank you, Mama. We didn't hug. Not yet. That would come later. Slowly. Earned. Vanessa was already at the elevator, jabbing the button, not looking back. 6 months later, Derek filed for divorce. Moved to a small apartment in East Charlotte. Got a steady job with a property management firm. A real one this time. He pays $500 a month toward the judgment and calls me every Sunday. The calls are longer now. 5 minutes, then 10, then 20. We're rebuilding. Slowly, honestly. Vanessa moved back to Durham. Pays $300 a month when she pays. I've got a collection agency on standby. Amara moved in with me full-time. Her choice, approved by both parents. She's 15 now, doing honors classes, wants to study law. She still sets the table for dinner every night, and every night she sits right next to me. I replanted the front yard, not a magnolia. Bobby's tree can't be replaced. Instead, I planted a Japanese cherry blossom. Something new. Something that blooms fierce and beautiful every spring and reminds you that life goes on. Gloria comes for Sunday dinner every week. Patricia joins sometimes. We sit at my table, in my house, and we eat my cooking and laugh until our sides hurt. Last month, I started volunteering at the Mecklenburg County Senior Center, teaching a class I call Your House, Your Rules, financial literacy, documentation, boundary setting, knowing your rights. 8 women showed up the first week, 14 the second, 22 last Tuesday. One of them, a 71-year-old woman named Dolores, came up to me after class with tears in her eyes. My nephew moved in 8 months ago. He's doing everything you described. Everything. I took her hands. Do you have a notebook? No. Get one. Start writing down every dollar, every date, every conversation. And Dolores? Yes? It's your house. Don't let anyone make you forget that. Last night, I sat on my back porch with my evening tea. The cherry blossom was just starting to bud, pink against the gray March sky. Bobby's wind chimes sang in the breeze, the ones he'd hung our first summer here, still singing after all these years. I thought about everything I'd lost. 2 years of peace. Nearly $100,000. The relationship I thought I had with my son. The magnolia tree my husband planted with his own hands. But I thought about what I'd gained too. My home. My voice. My dignity. The knowledge that at 64 years old, I was strong enough to stand in my own house and say enough. Smart enough to keep a green notebook. Brave enough to change the locks on a Sunday morning. I learned that loving your children doesn't mean letting them destroy you. That forgiveness and consequences can live in the same sentence. That the kindest thing you can do for someone who's taking advantage of you is to stop letting them. And I learned this. You are never too old to reclaim your life. Never too old to stand up, speak up, and take back what's yours. My name is Elaine Dorothy Patterson. I'm 64 years old. I live in Charlotte, North Carolina, in a house I bought with my husband in 1991. I cook my grandmother's recipes in my kitchen. I tend my garden with my own hands. And nobody, not my son, not his wife, not anyone, will ever make me invisible in my own home again. If you're going through something like this, start your notebook today. Document everything. And remember what my mama told me when I was 9 years old and the world felt too big and too mean. A woman who owns her home owns her life. Own yours.